The defense yesterday got their hands on her Thursday for the first time. And they were all over the map. They were scoring some points in terms of she loved him. She was definitely requesting at least a couple of these freak-offs, and it's in writing. Now, she was saying those are just words by that point. She was denying that she actually wanted them. And it's hard because if you look at the overall narrative of her first 2 days on the stand, she was talking about the coercion and the control he had over her and how she didn't want to be doing it. And she knew she'd pay a price if she didn't, and she was afraid of him and he would physically threaten her. So it's okay. You can pull out, like, in the course of hundreds of these things, one or two, or she's trying to please him. And she also testified that some of the time she knew she had to. And so she'd volunteer to do it like 3 days in advance. That's the 2016 one, she said, of an awards ceremony she was supposed to appear at, because she knew she'd have to take drugs to get through it, and that sometimes she would be physically hurt. And she wanted to look nice at her movie premiere or at the premiere of, an album, an award show. So she would try to convince him to get it done like 3 days before so she could recover from these things. I mean, this is sick. This is a depraved individual. And just keep in mind, she's not the only one. That we're going to have more women come forward, we believe, and take the stand and say he did this with them too. And as far as the racketeering goes, there's been testimony that his staff was facilitating it. They would set up the rooms. They would deconstruct the rooms. They would clean the rooms. They would bring in fresh linens from all the blood and human fluids and baby oil that were all over the beds of these hotels. It's absolutely disgusting. Yes, he was obsessed with baby oil. I know we're all kind of joking about baby oil now. It's just sick. Like, he wanted to heat it up. He wanted her putting it on sex workers, the sex workers putting it on her. He wanted her to watch him with female sex workers too, made her do that. And the defense is trying to say it's all consensual. We've got these emails showing some of them were at her request, or she was at least open-minded, or seemed to be anticipating it with favor. And therefore, this wasn't coercive. As for the beatdown we've seen on tape, they seem to want to suggest he was angry about his phone, something had happened to his phone, and not that she left the freak off. Now, they're not going to get that in evidence in any meaningful way unless he testifies. And if he testifies, all bets are off. It would be a disaster. I think it will be, I think it'll seal his fate beyond doubt. He's just arrogant enough to think he might be able to get away with it. But unless they can convince the jury through some other means that that's what he was angry about when he beat her, I think they're going to accept Cassie's testimony, because she was quick to, own it when she didn't know something. She wasn't an argumentative witness. Even the judge at one point said to the defense, look, you've got a very cooperative witness. Like, come on. Because they were saying, we might need to hold her over to Monday. We don't know when we're going to be done with her. And he was like, you're going to finish up with her on Friday. That's it. This was the schedule. You knew this was the schedule. Get it over with. And the baby's about to pop, for God's sake. And by the way, think of the poor stress that this woman's under. For all my female listeners who've had kids, remember yourself in the last 2 weeks of your pregnancy. Remember what an enormous whale you were and how even emotionally vulnerable you become. It's like somebody could stick a pin in you and you feel like you'd pop. You'd be like a Veruca Salt. No, Violet Beauregard type. Juicy everywhere. Rolling around on the Wonka floor like a blueberry. You're totally not yourself. You're spicy and you're maybe kind of emotional, and you don't feel like yourself. You're excited, you're nervous, even if it's your third kid. I've had 3 kids. It's a very big deal to squeeze another human being out of your body. And I mean, it's quite a testament to this woman's strength on some level to be doing this at all. The other woman's going under Jane Doe. Like, this woman is like there with her real name. And, the stress hormones that are running through her body. I'm sure this was calculated by her on whether she wants to do this. Am I going to hurt my baby? Am I going to endanger my pregnancy? But things don't get any more emotionally relaxed in the first 4 weeks of motherhood after you have your baby either. So clear is very important to her to take the stand and do this. And there's no picture whatsoever being painted of her as a villain. That's why I say it's not like Amber Heard. Even the defense seems to be conceding this is a sweet lady. Their best defense is she was into it. And I'm sorry, but that hotel videotape is just absolutely freaking devastating to their case. Because what we know more than anything is she was not into it that day. All she wanted was to get away from him. And he came out there like a criminal thug, beat the shit out of her, and dragged her back to his room in which he was sitting naked prior to putting on that towel. I just think that's going to be enough for most of these jurors. Look at her getting out of there. For the listening audience, we're showing the tape again. He's running. He's just holding the towel together. He didn't even have the time to like fold it on properly. Grabbed her like a rag doll, kicked her in the head, grabbing her stuff. This is in public, basically. It's a public hotel. Kicked her again, the anger. So these kicks, he's incredibly angry. Oh, and by the way, they tried to establish through Cassie when she was on the stand that he was upset because they took bad drugs the night before. He was on a bad drug trip. I don't give a shit, and neither will the jury. She testified that he was violent with her many times. As I said, she's already gotten sex worker testimony that he heard him abuse. How many bad drug trips did he have? And is that really a defense to coercion? I don't think so. This July, speaking of resets, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio. This bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for U.S. dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of dollars in your savings. While this transition will not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.